What are the proven steps that you go through to build a strong brand?
So in terms of building that out, first is looking internally, right? We want to make sure that if we can get the team in there, like in that point, to bounce ideas off and make sure that what we're building here and what is on the inside lines up, that's the most ideal. So at that point, we're looking at like, okay, what are these values? And I'm not talking about like the classics of like authenticity and the things that most companies you see, they put it up on their website and nobody even looks at them. It's like, yeah, no, your values need to be in the day to day. If you can't see it in the way that your team interact with customers, the way that you interact with people, then they're not your values. Then they're not strong enough. Right. And it is really defining that internal, like, hey, so this is what we want to work to, our mission, our vision, the values. Then going from there to understand the market. What is the market conditions like from competitors to customers to your own position there, right? What is going on? Like, what are the political, economical things that play into effect? Because if you don't know these things before going into, your positioning, you're going to struggle. And I'm not saying to go take months on market research. It doesn't need to be that complicated. You pick 2-3 things and then you kind of do a bit of stalking. That is it, right? You go in and see their messaging, and that's the easiest way to go, oh, damn, like, this is a good way to position. So the next 2 things are figuring out what's your differentiation and your positioning. So for listeners, there's 4 main ways that I look at positioning, right? One is going through your buyer's journey and seeing, okay, this is the normal point that we come in. Is there an earlier point that maybe others aren't necessarily focused on? The second one is looking at your competition and understanding, okay, so this is what they're doing. These are their strengths. What are the areas that they're all kind of either not focused on or they're weak on? And that's the thing that you focus on, even if it means dropping other parts, right? And then looking at the industry shoulds. These are the things that you're going to have to question a lot. And ideally, you want to have somebody who is not from that industry come in and just question everything. Why is this done like this? What is the reason? Like, why are we coming in at this point? Because by looking at these industry shoulds, you can open up gaps where you could potentially position differently and draw that attention. And the last one is the process. So it's looking at your internal process, how you've been doing things, and checking to see if there's any quirks in the way that you do your process that customers can, like, that they resonate with, that draws them in. And once you really found out your positioning, and it's not like a 2-page document, it's a like, one line, this is how we want to be seen, how we want to be of help, or like, don't use the templates. This is how we want to be positioned. Once you have those, you can define a clear voice because you got your values, you got your position, you can define your voice, and then you can adapt your messaging, tagline, your imagery, finally, at the end, build a story and implement further with a team. How does this look like in your marketing campaigns? How can your sales team bring this into their conversations? How can your HR take this to their hiring process? You know, making sure that whoever comes on board kind of has those basic shared values, so that you're not having a team of clones, but you have a team of people with that similar kind of base, the essence.
I'm, I'm surprised because when I found some resources about branding and when they say here's how we do it, sometimes the promises are like you can do your brand in 5 minutes and it's all right. But at the same time, I was convinced that it would take and that it takes months. So from your experience, how long does it really take?
It does. Your brand should be your long game. It is your long game. The brands that have lasted the longest properly invested in their brand. So if you look at the charts, especially during recessions or challenging market periods, the brands that have specifically invested in their brand strategy, like how they're positioned, etc., are the ones that are least impacted and are the ones that bounce up far quicker and far higher than other brands. Even if you're comparing to S&P 500s, the brands that have focused on their brand strategy, they bounce off higher. And so you're going to want to spend at minimum probably 8 to 9 months building it up and slowly okay, so this is how that looks like. And I'm not saying, again, this is in the background. This is every single step is okay, what does this look like in play? So you're not waiting for the results. You can start getting people oh, hey, actually, you know what? This fresh, this specific value, and people showing this in the day-to-day business that you've just posted. Oh, this resonates with me. And then suddenly you're getting people talking about your brand. And that could be within the first 30 to 60 days already. So you will start getting that traction from the beginning, but for it to properly start kicking in, you're looking from 8 to 12 months.
Thank you for tuning in. I hope that you found value. If you like this clip with Beatrice Gutknecht, the full-length episode is available here.